Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus again, and I'm out here at the wonderful university called Mississippi Valley State University, and I happen to be out here at this stadium. I think it's probably renamed for Jerry Rice, for those of you who are familiar with the great receiver, the San Francisco 49ers and Mississippi Valley State, and I believe from the state of Mississippi. Well, I'm here today, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I have committed to be able to spend time talking about our future. Talking about how wonderful our future is going to be, because we're going to be a changed society. We're going to renew what America means. We're going to renew what life means to many of us. Now, I've been called a preacher, not because I'm trying to get you into heaven, but because I've continuously spoken for what I am given to share with you, and that is that we have life in our bodies today, and we are to be living, as far as I'm concerned, as wonderful as we possibly can. I was thinking about a lot of people who are dissatisfied or jealous of people who are capable of living that wonderful life. You know, people like stars, people who got money, millions of dollars. You know, people like Beyonce and her husband, I don't even know his name, and other people. You know, people who just got money, they got what they want. They live in gated communities. And you know, this message is not to put these guys down or women down, or to put this lifestyle down. It is to put down the lifestyle of suffering and pain that comes from a lack of stuff. Can't have health care, can't have education as you need it. Don't have adequate food and clothing and shelter. Your dreams and your joys and all these things are being denied. You know, what you want, you need and desire, no way you're going to get it. Not the way we're living today. And so, you know, this message is to say that we want to bring all the poor people up to the standards of what people call rich people. And whatever method we have to use, we want to talk about that now. We got about 3 more months before we get a chance to vote. I want you to make your decision. I want you to be talking about how we're going to put everybody to work. How are we going to make sure that everybody has access to all of the wonderful things? Now, it's simple to me, but I don't want to tell you my way that's been given to me yet. I know my way, the way that it's been given to me, is just to confirm that it can happen. Now, I know for those of you who've never dreamed of this, never thought about it, it seems like it's going to be a complicated matter. But once you start talking, you will be amazed at what you might be able to come up with. And see, ladies and gentlemen, as I was thinking about this, and I wanted to get out here and speak about it this morning, and to try to see if I can get you to start talking. Don't stop. I know you haven't heard about this yet, but we want you to start talking about the future. Start planning for the future. And let's do it in a positive way that includes 350 million people if they live in America, to be a symbol to 8 billion people around the globe to really, really, really enjoy life. And ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, what I was thinking about this morning as I was sitting listening to some news and on the regular television and social media, and I'm beginning to see what's going on. And you know, there is so much hate in the American people. So much hate that it is more devastating if turned loose than this coronavirus. Coronavirus, before it is handcuffed, will probably, hopefully not, but probably could take up to 2 million lives. But the hatred amongst the American people, if turned loose, can wipe over 150 million American citizens off this earth. Hate, hate, hate. And I ask myself, where did this hate come from? Nobody was born with hate. Where does this hate come from? And then all I have to do, I don't have to think about the Garden of Eden. I don't have to think about the devil down in hell nowhere. All I got to do is look at Donald Trump. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking for me. You might see Donald Trump as a genius. You might see him as an angel from heaven. But to me, Donald Trump is a demon from hell. All he talks about, all he cares about is division. And he's upset because people don't like him. People don't like him because they never seen him tell the truth. Yeah, they like the doctors and people who they trust. But for him, I mean, he lies like it's the truth. He's accepted all lies as an alternative truth, and he pushes it. Now, I understand as people across the country are being interviewed about this man, we find that those who support Donald Trump, they don't even care if he lies. They just want him. They just want him. So I'm asking myself, who raised these people? What kind of home training did they get? And I can't answer that. I might say their parents, their father, their community. Well, in reality, The whole environment is responsible for it. We can't put all the blame of this despicable personality on the parent. The parent was just a part. Donald Trump's father was just a part. His mother was just a part. America was another part. And the system of America is another part. If you talk to people about peace and prosperity between all nations, they seem as if that's as foreign as can possibly be. What are you talking about? And you know, ladies and gentlemen, this hatred, I mean, it moves in a magnificent kind of way that leads to total destruction. You think about this bait that have been served to grasp all of the people of America. We call it money. Money. People do anything for money. You get sick, they'll make a fake medication to try to sell to you. You get sick and you're supposed to receive some kind of benefit. They'll come and try to find some way to steal it. It's amazing. It's amazing. So you might want to ask yourself, why is it that people do so many things, I mean destructive things? Why is it that they do these things to one another? And it's basically because they're trying to survive. They're trying to keep on living. They're trying to be able to live their lives, to be able to address the concerns of the day. And this is exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Address the conditions of the day. But when you listen at a man in the presidency of the United States who stands for justice, who represents everything but justice, who only picks people up who have violated justice, who's concerned only with having his supporters, especially in office, are criminals and mafia dudes, what in the world? How can we justify a president by the name of Donald Trump, as evil as this man is? How can we justify murdering Dr. Martin Luther King and building a statue and putting this man in office with all of the crooked stuff he does and can't even impeach him? And you got, oh, I see now, you got fundamentalist Christians, right wing. You got evangelicals, right wing, all white, been teaching in the dark, evil. They're riding on the boat with Donald Trump, evil, perpetuating it as being righteous. Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the virus. I heard somebody say today that God must really be angry with us because the numbers keep rising. The ones who keep trying to deny that it's happening keep dying and allowing others to die. It seems now that they want to cause the kids to die just so the economy can indicate that an administration was not a failure. Isn't that amazingly hypocritical about what we stand for? The rest of the world are laughing at us now, not because we are an evil people, because they know we're evil, but they didn't know we were this evil. And they still don't know we're this evil. They just call us paranoid and scared and frightened that Donald Trump will send out, oh my goodness. Let me say one more thing and I'm going to stop because I'm rambling all over the place. I remember Bo Connors down in the South when the blacks and people of color and white people who cared were standing up for righteousness and justice and some of the privileges that the Constitution permitted all people to engage in. And I remember how they used to send the dogs out, the fire hoses, and all of those as instruments. I mean, beating people, killing people, really. You know, they were killing people from down in Mississippi. People come from Detroit. They were killing everybody, you know, trying to say, you're not going to do that here. And here it is 50, 60 years later, and you got a president, not a governor, not a police chief. You got a president in the White House trying to say, they're trying to take our oil. Going to Texas, they're trying to take your oil. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, there's another thing. Here's that big trick. See, all of the resources of the earth were given to make sure that people with the gifts that they have engage themselves to extract from those resources all that is required to give them life. It is all belong to the giver. And you got Exxon, Standard Oil, and all these kind of guys got their name on it. And they got rich white people who bought stock in it. Everybody getting paid except the rest. You're just being messed over, abused. And you're poor. You're considered as second-class citizens because they messed over you. And now Donald Trump is pissed off, want to be president again. It seems as if everybody hate him, he says, but he still want to be their president. He told the white people the other day who lives in suburbia, don't worry about it. Barack Obama passed a law that prevented discrimination in this housing, segregated housing. But I've rescinded that. So now you can go on and live in your gated communities and you don't have to worry about it. Enjoy yourselves. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how in the world would America, if it had any sensibility, if it had any real moral value, how in the world would they let somebody make a statement like that from the Oval Office? It didn't just make that statement to the black people and people of color and poor people and those that are suffering in this country. They made that statement to the world and said, this is who we are. My, this is who we are. And I believe that there's something that's better. I believe that the American people is better than this. I believe that we can do better than this. I believe right now that we're just going through a trend. And this coronavirus, all of you, listen to me. This coronavirus is indiscriminate. It will take any and everybody out. But I'm also noticing that those people who have been robbed of the basic essentials of life that would give them a challenge to stand up against such a virus, who are dying, are also watching people who hate, people who just can't stand each other, people who just want to ignore the truth. Now, they're dying too. Yes, they are dying too. And it might mean that a whole bunch of us, it might take 2 million of us to die before we wake up and realize that people like Donald Trump, before we realize that people who got money, before we realize that white people are not God. And yet, at this moment in time, the second-class citizens, black people and people of color, are walking around talking about, we're going to get rid of Trump. Trump is a devil. Trump is the devil. We're going to get rid of him. And so, this is their hope that they can get rid of this devil. But what are they offering in return for this devil? A little smaller devil, called the Democratic Party. Now, the only thing I would do to say to black people who are considered people of color and those of you who are suffering, the only reason I would ask you to listen to the black people who are Democrats as far as persuading you to vote for Democrats is if the Democratic Party changes its platform and make it all-inclusive. I heard Joe Biden saying the other day about how he's going to rebuild the middle class. How in the hell can you say you're going to rebuild the middle class? The middle class has been up. The middle class was up all while black people was out there in the cotton fields. The middle class was up all while people were going through all the changing and suffering, lack of education, the dogs beating them, the fire hoses on them. The middle class was up, going along with all of this kind of stuff. So why in the hell can any person of color and black people sit up and talk about we're going to vote Democrats? And we'll know this is not a Democrat thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is a progressive thing. And I'm telling you right now that there's one power. You can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it. But the evidence of it, of its existence, is made known. Now, this hell that we're going through, that's the existence of the devil running the show. That's true as I can make it. And about this peace and this prosperity and stuff that I talked to you about, it's only going to come by because you changed your mind. You started paying attention to someone else, and that someone else is God. And God is expressed through the expression of love. Love meaning that you do unto others as you'd have others that do unto you. And when you treat anybody else, when you respond to anybody else, is as if you're responding to yourselves. That's how you protect yourself. That's how you start going forward for yourselves. And love is the medium that takes care of all of that. Now, I'm out here at this university. Today, the school isn't open, so there are no classes. You don't see any students. It's just a blank campus. There are some people who live here, and they are here. But other than that, it's just an empty campus. And if we don't wake up quick, if we don't wake up and start caring about ourselves, if we don't wake up and acknowledge that there's a God, and a God requires that we act different than we have been acting, we're going to be walking on, somebody's going to be walking across the country of the United States of America, and it's going to be barren, just like this. Why? Because hate came in and destroyed it, and there were not enough lovers to protect it. I want to thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this your time. I did a little whopping around here and there, and it feels that way sometimes when you don't put your stuff down on paper and read it from a monitor or something. But at least it's in me. For those of you who heard it, I hope you got something out of it. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus. Goodbye.